Storyteller brings you Ascendance of a Bookworm Chapter 10, where Myne's first forest trip turns into a clay tablet disaster. Let's dive. Chapter 10. The first trip to the forest begins with Myne, tool in hand, ready for adventure. A large woven basket is shown with a thud. A hand firmly grips a wooden mallet, with a sound effect indicating impact. A hand holds a small, sharp tool, poised for a delicate task. Myne appears with two mallets, as an unknown character calls out, "Myne." Gunter gives Myne instructions for her trip. "Today you're only going to the forest, then coming back. Just rest there and come back with everyone. Get it?" Myne cheerfully replies. As the children depart for the forest, they receive final warnings to return before the gate closes, with one adult relying on Tiri. An unknown character reacts with discomfort, thinking. An unknown character cheerfully affirms, "Yes, I'll come back early today." An unknown character affirms, "Yes." A group of children, including Myne and Tiri, walk towards a well in a town alleyway. An unknown character enthusiastically declares, "Just leave it to me." Myne, with a worried expression, thinks, "Looks like Tiri's gonna be strict today." Myne expresses her excitement, declaring, "Today it'll be my first trip to the forest." An unknown boy encourages Myne, "Let's go, Myne, we can go slowly." Myne agrees, "Okay." Myne narrates, "The fact that I could walk to the gate without any trouble was thanks to Lutz staying by my side and setting up the pace." Myne, with a joyful smile, thanks Lutz. "Lutz, thanks for always helping me." An unknown boy explains, "Well, Mr. Gunter does give me some allowance, and Myne's helped my family too." Myne and Lutz reminisce about a past meal, Lutz saying, "That Paruberg last time was really good." Myne agrees, "The Paru's sweetness brought out a deep flavor, didn't it?" Two characters diligently chop ingredients, discussing how hard it is to mince meat by beating it with a knife, and the unexpected help they received. Two characters discuss food preparation, with one asking, "Why didn't you tell me how to make it during winter?" And the other replying, "You can't mince meat unless it's fresh." One character exclaims, "Geez, Tilda, that's a lot of works," while another offers, "But if it's about cooking, we'll help." A dense forest with distinctively patterned trees is depicted. Myne sits breathing heavily, while Lutz stands nearby with a basket. Lutz instructs Myne, "Myne, I'm going over there to pick up firewood. You stay and rest here." Myne, now cheerful, greets someone with a wave. Myne assertively states, "Do you think I'm going to the forest just to mess around? Totally wrong." Myne sits contentedly, eyes closed, enjoying the peaceful forest atmosphere. Myne digs vigorously, thinking, time to dig, I'm going to dig my heart out." Myne cuts into the ground with a knife focused. Myne magically draws clay from the ground, commanding, "Come to me, clay." Myne forcefully digs into the earth with a shovel, grunting with effort. Myne recoils in pain, clutching her wrist, exclaiming, "So hard." After her shovel hits something, an unknown character questions, I can't dig it out. It's like soil on a pea." Myne sits dejectedly, thinking, "I thought forest soil is soft due to the high moisture." A hand grips a shovel, pushing it into the ground with visible effort. Myne expresses unwavering determination, holding a digging tool, saying, "I can't give up. If I dig it little by little, I can make it." A hand forcefully pushes a cylindrical object into the ground, with a gritty sound. Myne sits exhausted on the forest floor, still attempting to gather material. Myne is startled by an unknown boy calling her name, "Myne." Myne kneels, clutching a knife, exclaiming, "Ah," in distress. Myne quickly turns her head, clutching a knife, reacting to an unseen stimulus. An unknown boy stands before Myne, holding gathered plants, and asks, "What are you doing?" Myne confronts an unknown boy, who drags a large quantity of wood, exclaiming, "Didn't you say you wouldn't do anything to tire yourself out in the forest?" Myne tries to explain, Lutz, but Lutz interjects, "But what? I told you to rest already, and here you are doing." Lutz reacts with wide-eyed surprise, his hair spiking up. Lutz stammers, "Aye," as Myne frantically tries to dig a hole, shouting, "I'm digging a hole." Lutz, slightly exasperated, says, "I can see that. What are you digging a hole for?" As Myne looks on. Myne explains, "Well, I'm looking for clay-like soil." Lutz, with a shocked expression, asks Myne, What is it that you want?" Myne, with a serious expression, describes the soil. "It's kinda packed, squishy, sticky, and heavy. The moisture's..." Lutz points out a location to Myne, explaining, "If you want that, there are a lot over there. The place where plants and grass..." Myne exclaims, "I get it," with triumphant joy. Myne exclaims, "I get it," with triumphant joy. Lutz shouts, "Myne, hold up," as Myne playfully runs away with an ice pop, cheerfully saying, "Thank you, Lutz." Lutz scolds a crying Myne, declaring, "Your only job is to rest. Get it?" Myne clutches her ears, thinking, "But it's something only I want, and it's not a daily necessity." If I don't do it, nobody's going to do it for me. A male character, weary but cooperative, tells Myne, I'll help you after I finish picking up firewood. Lutz instructs Myne, so just sit there and wait, Myne. Myne responds with confusion. Lutz kneels, offering to dig for Myne, stating, You're very weak and you're incapable of digging, so I'll do it. In exchange, make sure to tell me what you want to use the soil for and what you're up to. Myne, now standing, asks Lutz, I highly appreciate that, but don't you have your own work? Lutz asks Myne, why? As Myne looks up with a surprised and questioning expression, Lutz explains to Myne, in that case, I won't have to waste too much strength. Lutz demonstrates inefficient digging with a trowel, saying, for example, you know that you want soil, but you were digging in the wrong place, right? Myne grumbles. Lutz partially obscured questions, why? As Myne, also partially obscured, is either digging or react. Myne, with a confused expression, asks Lutz, why did you help me? Lutz explains his motivation, stating, because of that, I decided to help you out when Lutz, eating paro cake, asks Myne, you made the paro cake for me when I was super hungry, right? Myne reacts with surprise, asking, just that. Lutz informs Myne, all right, I'll be back after I finish picking up the firewood. Myne reflects, you're willing to help me just because of that? Delicious food must really be effective. An expansive outdoor setting with lush foliage and a clear sky establishes the scene. Myne declares, this place looks good, as Lutz stands ready with a digging tool. Lutz, holding an ice pop, says, the fact that you brought this along means you never planned to keep your promise, did you? Myne, blushing, explains, well, because I could finally go to the forest and I couldn't resist, so. Myne, with a confident smile, holds a small shovel and states, I prepared the tools in advance. A sharp, quick motion is depicted with the sound effect, za. Lutz attempts to dig with a small shovel, exclaiming, this is why I can't take my eyes off you even for 1 second. Myne reassures Lutz, it's fine, Lutz, there's no need to be as strict as my father. Lutz exclaims in exasperation, throwing his hands up, Mr. Gunter's spoiling you too much. Lutz asks Myne, this is what you want, right? And Myne, with sparkling eyes and a wide smile, responds, okay. A character holds a clod of earth, exclaiming, that was it. If I dug it myself, I'd probably have to spend an entire day. Myne praises Lutz. Amazing, Lutz, you're so strong. While Lutz, holding a shovel, retorts, because no one's as weak as you, Myne. Lutz asks Myne, so what are you going to do with that? Myne replies, I'll be making clay tablet. Myne instructs, yes, first you need it like this. As Lutz questions, clay tablet. A rectangular block of clay is presented. A character shapes a clay tablet with a tool. Myne writes on a clay tablet while Lutz observes. A thought bubble questions, are those characters? Over a close-up of carved characters on a surface. Myne instructs, you write them on the surface like this to record things. Lutz acknowledges. Myne explains, and books which hold together records to no end are even more amazing. By recording them like this, whenever you forget something, you can look them up and recall them. Recording is amazing, isn't it? Myne thanks Lutz for his help, saying, thanks for helping me digging, Lutz. If you need to do something else, go ahead. Myne declares, I'll stay here and write. Lutz accepts, all right. Myne meticulously inscribes characters onto a clay tablet using a stick. A close-up shows Japanese characters inscribed on a surface. Myne celebrates, yay, I'm done. A clay tablet inscribed with cuneiform-like characters is displayed, with an unknown speaker exclaiming, clays are amazing, I did it. Hooray to the Mesopotamian civil. Myne, with a triumphant smile, thinks, now I just need to bring them home and bake them. Myne reacts with intense shock, her eye wide and dilated. 3 boys walk along a muddy path, heavily laden with baskets and clay tablets, while Myne observes them from behind. A large, heavy, rectangular object falls towards Myne, causing her to react with shock. Myne covers her face, screaming, Kaya, in extreme distress. Myne cries out in anguish, the clay tablets, Faye, you guys, why, I've just made them. As her creations lie shattered on the 3 boys react with concern, one shouting, Myne, what's wrong? Myne cries out in despair, clutching her ruined clay tablets. They're all ruined. An unknown boy reacts with shock and regret, realizing, I didn't know. I thought they were just lumps of dirt. Myne wails, so mean. As an unknown character observes her distress. Myne collapses in grief, her face obscured. Myne remains still, her back to the viewer, symbolizing her emotional devastation. Myne's emotional devastation is symbolized by a large X crossing out her form. An abstract panel shows diagonal lines, symbolizing intense emotional impact. Myne yells, do you know how long it took me to get here? Do you know it's really hard to improve stamina with someone weak like me? As Lutz and 2 other boys react in shock. Myne kneels, reflecting, I've finally made it thanks to Lutz and Thierry, yet. As Lutz and two other boys observe, Myne reacts with intense embarrassment, covering her face and wailing loudly. An unknown boy calls out Myne. In surprise and concern, a dense forest scene establishes the natural environment. An unknown character exclaims, "You look so scary." As Lutz, concerned, asks Myne what's going on, Myne cries in distress. Myne's distress peaks with a loud dawn reverberating through the forest, intensifying the emotional shock. An unknown character explains, "Faye and the others accidentally stepped on the thing Myne made." Myne, crying profusely, declares, "I don't care if everyone says I'm being immature." Myne, crying, declares, "I won't forgive them." As an unknown character comforts her, saying, "Don't cry like that, it's not like they did it on purpose." Myne narrates, "But my longing for books is one thing I can't control." Myne narrates, "I've finally managed to take the first step forward yet." As an unknown finger point, Lutz gently tells Myne, "Myne, I know you're really angry and frustrated, but anger won't solve anything." Myne, still tearful, responds. The middle boy shouts, "Yeah, we'll help, we said we're sorry," while an unknown hand points at another boy who recoils in fear. Myne, with tears streaming, covers her face, sobbing. A wide establishing shot shows a field at the forest's edge. A wide establishing shot shows a field at the forest's edge, serene and peaceful. An unknown female character reminds Myne, "Myne, we have to go back soon." Myne, immersed in writing, replies, "Let's leave it for next time, okay?" Myne expresses deep distress, uttering, "Myne tilde." As an unknown male character observes her with concern, Lutz asks Myne, "If we can't go back home, it'll be all for nothing, won't it?" Myne, with resolve, replies, "I'll help you next time, so let's finish." Lutz asks Myne, "If we can't go back home, it'll be all for nothing, won't it?" Myne, with resolve, replies, "I'll help you next time, so let's finish it." A character crouches, placing something under a tree, while another points to a spot on the ground, saying, "It should be fine if we put them all there." Lutz comforts Myne, asking, "That's it for today, all right?" As Myne looks on with a sad, Myne responds with a quiet, resigned, "Okay." Myne thanks Lutz sincerely, saying, "Thank you, Lutz." One character, distressed, asks, how am I supposed to tell Dad about this?" While another, resigned, adds, "By the look of it, she'll definitely catch a fever when she gets back home." Tiri and Lutz walk side by side, Tiri lamenting, "You have it rough, Tiri." Lutz replies, "Same for you, Lutz." Narration states, afterward, over a cityscape, Myne lies in bed with a fever, as narration states, "Just like Tiri and Lutz said, after exploding with anger, I was stuck in bed for 3 days with a fever." 3 days later, Gunter scolds Myne, yelling, "We'll see how you're doing tomorrow before you can go to the forest again." No, no. Myne listens to Gunter's firm instruction, "If you understand, go rest for today," and responds, "Okay." Myne desperately protests, "I don't want that." As Gunter warns, "If you break your promise next time, I won't allow you to go to the forest again," while an unknown character restrains. Myne lies in bed thinking, "But if I behave, I'll be allowed to go to the forest tomorrow, right?" Tilde. An unknown speaker declares, "All right, clay tablets, I'm going to make tons of them." Over a building. The next day, rain persists over the city. Heavy rain falls, emphasized by the sound effect, Zaya. Myne reacts with extreme shock and distress to a sudden heavy rainfall, exclaiming, "Rain! A storm, Nuwu." An unknown character asks Myne, "Myne, why are you opening the windows?" As Myne opens, Myne runs away in a panic, shouting, "My clay tablets." An unknown character physically restrains Myne, asking, "Where do you think you're going?" Myne shouts, "To the forest." Myne runs vigorously, glancing back as if checking for pursuit. An unknown character scolds Myne, "Absolutely not. You get feverish even in normal weather and you want to go out in a storm like that? What are you thinking?" Myne groans, "Ugh." An unknown character dries Myne's head, admonishing, "Wipe yourself or you'll catch a cold again." Myne replies, "Okay." Myne, slumped and distressed, laments, "My clay tablets." As an unknown character observes with concern, Tiri comforts Myne, patting her head and saying, "It's gonna be fine. Everyone said they'd help, so you can make them much faster." Narration states, "By the time I was able to go to the forest again, a whole week had passed since the day I'd made the first clay tablets." Myne adjusts her hood, narrating, "I thought it'd be quick, but the rain ended up continuing for days. A peaceful forest stream flows, with leaves falling. A bright, open outdoor setting with sun rays establishes a peaceful atmosphere." Myne defensively explains, This time it wasn't my fault. It was because of the rain." As Lutz and an unknown character Myne, tearful and dejected, says, "I know." Lutz comforts Myne, saying, "This is no time to be crying, so let's start working on it again, okay?" Myne, tearful, narrates, "Lutz was right." A group hurries towards a city gate under heavy rain, as narration lists the first failure. Man-made disaster, second failure. The gate's closing time, third failure. Myne, with determined eyes, narrates, now that I've experienced both man-made and natural disasters, there's no way I can fail again. No matter what it takes, I'll finish. Myne explains the purpose of clay tablets to a group of children, saying, like I explained the other day, these clay tablets will be one form of media. You can make them by kneading, and you can write letters on them with your fingers if you practice. And once they're baked, you can preserve them. Aren't they amazing? Lutz asks Myne, so what are you going to write about? Myne replies, the stories Mom told me. If I write them down, I won't forget them, right? Myne sits holding a book, reflecting. I want to have lots of new books every month in my life, holding them in my hands and feeling every single page in each one. Lutz, surprised, asks Myne, so you just want a lot of books? Lutz asks Myne, is that what you want, Myne? Myne replies, well, kind of. What I want is to live my life surrounded by books. Myne passionately demands, yes, of course, I want books right now. Myne explains, but both paper and books are expensive, so I have no choice but to make them myself. Lutz, understanding, says, oh, I see. Two unseen characters discuss, so you're making a substitute for books for now, right? And the other emphatically replies, right. An unknown character emphatically confirms, right. Myne asks Lutz, what do you want, Lutz? He responds, since you asked me, you should have something you want to do too, right? Myne, with a pensive expression, thinks, I write. Lutz expresses his desire to travel, stating, I want to try going to other towns. Some merchants travel to other lands and they hear a lot of stories, you know. I want to see lots of different things with my own two eyes, too. Myne expresses contentment. Tilda, traveling is nice, too. An unknown character reacts with surprise and concern, looking over their shoulder. Lutz, surprised, asks Myne, that means you want to leave this town. Myne, hesitant, replies, why, you think? Myne enthusiastically declares, yeah, traveling to other places sounds really interesting. Lutz's dream is revealed. My dream is visiting other libraries in the world. It always has been. Myne narrates, though it's a dream that'll never come true. Lutz sighs, reflecting, I was such a fool for worrying about it. You definitely do whatever you want, Myne. Myne encourages Lutz. You should just do what you want too, Lutz. Lutz listens to Myne's encouraging words, his eyes wide in thought. Lutz is deep in thought, processing Myne's words. A character, after a pause, affirms, okay. 10 clay tablets are laid out and an unknown character instructs. We've made 10 clay tablets. You guys can go back to picking firewood now. Myne thanks. Children run into the forest to gather firewood as Myne observes. Myne asks Lutz, Lutz, you're not going. Lutz kneels, explaining, Ralph came with us today so I can stay and help you. Myne reacts with surprise to Lutz's statement, asking, huh? In confusion, Myne writes and asks, then do you want to practice writing some letters? As Lutz observes, Myne writes Lutz's name into a surface, stating, this is your name, Lutz. Lutz, curious, asks. Myne teaches Lutz how to write his name, stating, I learned how to spell all of your names when I learned my letters. This is how you write your name, Lutz. Lutz reacts with surprise, asking, this is my name. Lutz, thoughtful, says, if you want to travel to other places, you gotta know how to write your name first. Myne affirms, yes. An aerial view shows a small, isolated campsite in a forest clearing. Myne triumphantly presents a completed clay tablet, exclaiming, it's done, Tilda. Narration explains, you can hardly call clay tablets books, but this is the first thing I managed to create in this world. Myne, tearfully joyful, exclaims, I can read books even in this world. That's enough for me. Myne, tearfully joyful, holds her chin, narrating, it's enough for me. Myne reflects, this is a world where books are too expensive for the poor, and I was born into a weak body that gets a fever no matter what I do. Even if it's a bit extreme, I didn't really mind if I died. Narration describes an empty room, stating, I can't get attached to a world without book. Myne holds a book, narrating, I feel like I've found the path I want to walk in this world. Myne holds a book, narrating, now I've got a book in my hands, even in this world, and something I can hold close to my heart. Myne walks through the forest, turning as an unseen voice asks, Myne, you finished making them. Myne, with a curious expression, asks, what's written here? As an unknown character holds a clay tablet. Myne, with tears of joy, holds a clay tablet, exclaiming, yes. Myne thanks the group, thanks to everyone. An unknown character tells Myne, this is the story of the children of the star, the one Mom told me on the first night. Myne questions, the first. Myne, tearful, affirms, yeah, the first story I remember. Myne suffers from a high fever in bed, as narration states. That was the story Mom told me when I couldn't sleep due to a high fever, when I first became. Myne reflects, to me, who couldn't accept the reality that I've become Myne, Feeling Mom's love only deepened my sense of solitude. It was really painful. Myne, holding a clay tablet, says, "You know, I want to record the stories Mom told me so I'll never forget them." Myne, holding a book, cries tears of joy, narrating, "But now, when I decided to make a book, that story showed up in my mind again." An unknown character asks, "But won't the letters disappear again?" Myne confidently replies, "If you bake it to make it harden, it won't disappear." Myne, with tears of joy, narrates, "I feel like this is the first time that I smiled naturally." Myne, with tears streaming, narrates, "I feel like this is the first time that I smiled naturally." Myne, smiling, explains her motivation. "That way, I can read Mom's stories anytime I want." Narration states, "Ever since I started living here as Myne," over a cityscape. Narration states, "I thought everything was progressing smoothly, but..." Clay tablets are magically baked within an intense energy field, accompanied by a booming sound. Myne is scolded firmly by her mother, as narration states, "And I was scolded firmly by Mom." Narration states, "All of my efforts have completely been shattered," over a pile of broken fragments. Myne kneels dejectedly, asking, "Did I just end up back at the starting point?" An unknown character scolds Myne, "Clean up this mess." Myne meekly replies, "Yes, till..." A character holds a sculpted clay object, reflecting, "But I feel good about finishing it once. So this is kinda like 3 steps forward, 2 steps back." Myne, pensive, asks, "What should I do next?" as the chapter ends. And that wraps up Ascendance of a Bookworm Chapter 10. What did you think of Myne's clay tablet struggles? Share your thoughts below. If you enjoyed this recap, subscribe to Storyteller for more bookworm